If you were a poor child living in the slums of Victorian London, your life was probably pretty miserable. You'd be familiar with the horrors of disease, with grinding poverty and malnutrition. And for many, the chances of survival were pretty low and the chance of a formal education even lower. But there was a ray of hope, an institution which could transform lives. It was this building behind me, the Ragged School. It all started when Thomas Barnardo came to London from his home city of Dublin in 1866. His plan was to train as a doctor and then head out to China for missionary work. But he was so shocked by the conditions here in London when he saw the terror of a cholera epidemic sweeping through the East End, leaving over 3,000 people dead. And so Barnardo dropped his plans. He began to work instead to help London's poor. And in 1877 he opened what became known as a Ragged School in this building, then an old warehouse. And here children could gain a basic free education. Now, it's important to remember quite how radical Barnardo's outlook was, because many of his contemporaries saw poverty as shameful or the result of laziness and vice. But Barnardo refused to discriminate between the deserving and the undeserving poor, and so he would accept any child into these kind of institutions, regardless of background or circumstance. And thousands of poor children were welcomed and provided with a place of safety, a free education, breakfast and dinner. So the school was a great success for over 30 years and only closed in 1908 because there were enough government schools to serve the needs of the local families. And since 1990, it's been a museum, really with the aim of explaining the history of the Ragged Schools and the broader social history of the Victorian East End. And they've got this wonderful Victorian classroom where you can experience what it was like to be at school in the Victorian period, and lots of interesting objects such as Dr. Barnardo's desk, still with all of his handwritten labels. And you'll notice it's in pretty good nick, looking absolutely glorious today in the summer sunshine. Well, that's because it's just been transformed using a £4.8 million grant from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. And it's one of many such projects which the National Lottery Heritage Fund has supported since 1994. They've actually invested £8.8 billion in total in over 51,000 heritage projects across the UK. And so the Ragged School is really an amazing bit of London's history. I'd really recommend a visit, and you can come and join the conversation with the hashtag #HeritageIsOpen. So make sure you get it on your list, and I hope you enjoy your visit.